Hi, my name's Kelly Bowers, and I am the owner of the Healing Arts Business Academy. And I would like to talk to you today about that weird thing called independent contracting. Give me a moment. And independent contracting doesn't have to be weird, and it can absolutely work for us. But as a massage therapist and in our world, we have so much confusion around this that it has gotten kind of weird. But let's talk about how to make it work for us. In the world as massage therapists, we generally have one of three categories working for us. We are either in private practice, we are working for ourselves, it is only us, we set all the rules, we have all the responsibility, we have all the control. We may be working in a space that we own, like our home, we may be working in a rented space. The other end of the scale, working for others, is an employee, where you as an individual work for an organization as an employee. They have all the control, but they have a huge amount of responsibility for you as well. In between, we have independent contracting, where you are working for yourself inside somebody else's organization, which is what makes it weird for us. And because a lot of organizations have used independent contracting as a way to bring people on without taking on the responsibilities they're supposed to for employees. That's the other thing that's made independent contracting weird. But independent contracting, you are working for yourself within somebody else's organization. And these are the three categories that 99% of us operate under. When you are one of these three, you are governed by a contract, usually. If you're an employee, it's an employment contract. If you're an independent contractor, it's an IC contract. If you're in private practice and you're working in a space that you rent, then you're a tenant and you're working under a lease. If you're working in space that you own, you don't have any contracts. What's important to know is these contracts are fundamentally different from each other in how they lay out responsibility and control. Responsibility and control have to go together. If somebody exerts a great deal of control over you, they have to take a great deal of responsibility. So it's very important to remember and understand that these three contracts fundamentally different, and they define whether you are really an employee, really a contractor, or really a tenant. You can be all three of these at the same time, but not in the same place. For example, on Tuesday, you're building a small private practice and you're seeing people in your home. On Wednesday and Thursday, because your private practice hasn't grown yet, you see clients as an independent contractor at Central City Chiropractic. And on Friday and Saturday, as an employee, you see clients at the Central City Day Spa. That can happen. Lots of people do that sort of thing, but you've got to be clear on what your status is in each of them and what contract you operate under. You can't be an independent contractor at Central City Chiropractic while working like an employee or being kind of an employee and kind of an independent contractor. No. They're very distinctly different. When you work for somebody else, you come in as an individual, one person. And what you bring to the table is your skills, your experience, and your license. And the employer has a great deal of responsibility for you in terms of, well, everything, providing everything you need, including clients. They also have a great deal of control over your hours, your rate, who you see, what kind of work you do. That's the trade-off. You don't have a lot of responsibility, but you don't have a lot of control. And you're coming in as an individual, one person. If you are working for yourself in private practice, you're still bringing your skills, experience, and license in, but you've also established a business governed by things like the hours you work, your rates, your policies, how you process payments, if you have a dress code for yourself, your time off. That's kind of how you've built the space and shape and size of your business by all the policies that you set up for your practice. You get to decide that. You are in control of that. You have all of the responsibility and all of the control. Now, If you're working for somebody else as an independent contractor, even though you are a business of one, you're coming in as a business. You may look like exactly the same person who came in as an employee, but you're not, because the contracting organization is hiring your business. And that business includes skills, experience, and license, but also hours, rates, policies, etc. They are not hiring you as an individual. They are hiring you as a business. They may have an organization full of people as employees, and you may look like, to the average client, another employee, but you're not. You are operating as an independent business within their organization. You are an independent business within their organization, even if everybody else is an employee. There are some important differences between you and all those other people you work with. For example, as an independent business, you provide your own supplies. They'll usually provide the table. You do your own laundry, but you set your own hours and manage your own schedule. You alert the contracting organization to extended absences, say parental leave, as a courtesy. You set your own rates, you set your own policies. This is a biggie, you accept payment directly from the client. The client does not pay the larger organization and it filters down to you. You, as a business, accept payment from the client, and then, depending on how you've arranged it, daily, weekly, monthly, you pay percentage of that. It's usually a percentage to the contracting organization. Your business pays the contracting organization effectively rent. Being a tenant and being an independent contractor are very similar, but they're not exactly alike. You choose your time off. Here's another one. You do your own marketing. You must continue to do your own marketing when you are an independent contractor. Even if you only work in that one place, you don't work anyplace else, you work there 5 days a week, you're really happy to work there. To be considered an independent contractor, if anything ever comes up, there has to be evidence that you market yourself and are continuing to look for other work and clients. You file your own taxes and claim your deductions because you are an independent business. You function like a private practice within the organization. What do you not have to do as an independent contractor? You don't have to do their cleaning and laundry. I mean, you can if you're a super sweet person, but you don't have to. You don't have to attend meetings unless you're getting paid to do it. You don't have to stay in the office if you don't have clients. You don't have to ask permission to take time off. You don't have to participate in their discounts or freebie events. They are a separate business from you. You don't have to act like an employee. And I don't ever want to hear an independent contractor say, well, they made me do X, Y, and Z. Unless they grabbed you by the hair and dragged you down the hall, they can't make you do anything. They can really, really want you to do something and be very aggressive about that, but they can't make you do it unless you say yes. And as a business owner, you've got to be able to say no when it's right. Things you will probably negotiate is the days you'll be in the office. This will be part of writing your contract. How much notice you'll give for extended absences, again, as a courtesy. Hours you will generally be in the office. Whether you will honor their discounts and freebies, general dress code, access to the office maybe outside their regular hours. These are the kinds of things you will talk about when you are setting up your contracting relationship. But things like the days you'll be in there and the hours aren't holding you in place. You can not be there because you are an independent business. So what does it take for an independent contractor relationship to work? Both parties need to understand the boundaries of independent contracting, and that is a huge, huge problem in our profession. Huge. Both parties need to interact business to business, never employee to employer. So important. Both have to be comfortable negotiating because you have to set up this relationship. It's not as straightforward as an employee relationship, so you have to set it up. And this next point, I'm going to say it's on the independent contractor because that's where I've seen the most problems. The independent contractor has to be confident as a business person and able to hold healthy business boundaries. If you are going into independent contracting because you can't figure out how to do private practice or it's not working for you, but you really want to work for somebody else and just hand off all of the responsibility and control to them, then you shouldn't be independent contracting. You should be an employee. That's really important. And that's one of the biggest problems we have. That's not the biggest. It's a big problem we have in our profession. Not understanding that this is not a shortcut to employment. It helps if both businesses, the independent contractor and the contracting organization, have their own contracts to negotiate from. So let's say you're doing independent contracting and you realize you're doing it wrong. It's entirely possible. So what could go wrong? Boundaries get crossed and feelings get hurt. The contracting organization may try to act like an employer and exert control inappropriately. The contractor may start acting like an employee and expecting the organization to kind of take care of them and fill their schedule and provide benefits and stuff like that. Contracts can get violated if you're doing it wrong. And here's one that scares people for good reason. If you are ever audited, you or the organization, and they look at it and look at how things really operate and say, I don't care what you signed, you are functioning like an employer and employee, oh, you're going to screw up your taxes big time. If you don't do it right, you're going to screw up your taxes, and that will come back to bite you in the gluteus minimus, way down deep where it's going to hurt. Having said all of that, you're thinking, well, why would anybody do this? Why not just hire an employee or whatever? Well, there are advantages to it for both sides. For the contracting organization, they get a massage therapist working in their organization, generating income, seeing their clients, but they have very little responsibility for them. Very little responsibility. But they also have virtually no control. Remember, responsibility and control have to move together. They have no control over the massage therapist, including when and how much they work, which directly affects their income. They cannot insist that you must work 3 days a week or find a sub for yourself. Independent contracting does not work like that. On the contractor side, you get to be part of an active massage practice, which should help fill your schedule. Because if it's not helping to fill your schedule, you should just rent space and be a tenant. But you get to maintain control like a private practice. But you don't get much in the way of support, and you cannot insist that they fill your schedule. You are still primarily responsible for the success or failure of your business. It is a balancing act, and it really is that space between totally independent private practice and totally controlled employee status. It's this in-between place. And I think it's actually a lot closer to being a tenant, but not exactly, than it is to being a pseudo-employee. In short, get straight with your status, get straight with your organization, and do it right or don't do it at all. My humble opinion. Again, my name is Kelly Bowers. I own the Healing Arts Business Academy, which focuses on helping people set up private practice and get moving in their first couple of years in business. You can find more information about me at my website, healingartsbizacademy.com. You can reach me by email at info@bowershours or text me at 202-744-1878. And I am active on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. If you've got any questions, please reach out to me. And I hope you have a great day, and I hope you have a great and correct status. Take very good care of yourselves.